If we are honest with ourselves, we know that from time to time we say something or share something that we haven't really thought through. We don't really, we haven't really investigated the concept, its origins, what it truly means, to have a full understanding. We'll just repeat something or say something, or share a meme because it's a meme and it's trendy or it's politically correct or it's not politically correct for whatever reason. But if we're honest with ourselves, we can all agree, we all do this as human beings sometimes. And it's the same as like when you drive to work or whatever. You don't consciously think of every turn you're making and all. It's just subconscious. It becomes motor skill. So you can think about other things while you're driving on your way to work, and you're not going to get lost. You still make it to work without having to think about the road and every step of the way, because it's all just becomes subconscious. And a lot of the time, our conversational points, things we put across to people, ideas and concepts, it'll be in the same way. So we'll be talking consciously, and then we'll just unconsciously say something in the same way that you drive to work. You're not thinking about where you're going, so in the same way, you're not thinking about what you're saying. You just say it just comes out. And it becomes a habit that you haven't really thought about. When we share ideas and concepts in this manner, which are harmful without us realizing, and we're actually causing harm to ourselves, other people, to society as a whole, by just simply repeating an idea because it's trendy, or it was a funny meme and you shared it. And we don't realize the actual damage, the underlying damage we're doing to society as a whole in just sharing an idea. That's called villainy signaling. Okay? So again, when you unconsciously, subconsciously share some trend, some cultural thing from society, which is harmful to society and yourself, that's called villainy signaling. And it's where we just follow along, we're just conforming, we're just subconsciously repeating trends. And again, if it's negative, it's called villainy signaling. This individual shared this post here, and he's done exactly this, what I've explained. Now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say that that's what he's done, and that he isn't some evil, child abusing bastard who actually understands what he's shared in the meme that he shared and put across. Now, this common meme, this trend, is called a meme pathogen, because it infects people's ways of thinking, and that's how it ends up harming folk, and they end up harming themselves. Negative thought patterns create negative habits, which create negative lifestyles, negativity in general, negative states of being, depression, anxiety, suicide, etc. It all starts from bad ideas, meme pathogens. Alright? Now, this specific meme pathogen, and that's as well why if you go to any type of therapy or counselling for anything like that, that's exactly what the professionals will tell you, the medical professionals. That all these negative problems, the depression, everything comes from negative thought patterns. And so you have to heal your subconscious thought patterns and enforce positive thought patterns to replace the negative thought patterns to allow you to then express yourself positively. That's even what the medical professionals and counsellors and therapists will tell you if you go there and you got problems, So this ain't some pseudo-science type of thing. This is the normal, confirmed psychological point of view in all of Western society, the modern world today. Any doctor you go see, they'll agree and they'll tell you the exact same thing. They'll try to give you medication as well on top of it to help you deal with it and as you go through your therapy, etc. But that's because they make nice compensation on the medication they get you on. But that's a whole other story. This meme pathogen here, you might have heard it before. You might not have. But it's a common meme pathogen that gets around, and it's one of those politically correct meme pathogens. It's just it's trendy. People subconsciously repeat it without actually thinking it through. Because again, if they thought it through, they'd understand how disgusting it is, how messed up it is, and they wouldn't publicly share those types of opinions. They'd do it anonymously, maybe, but they wouldn't be putting their face and name to it. That's for sure, if they understood what they were actually saying. But here, this common meme pathogen that's getting around these days, it comes from anti-white feminism. Okay, so it's an anti-white meme pathogen, fundamentally, part of the anti-white narrative. Oh, wonder. No surprise there. Protect your daughters, crossed out. Then underneath, educate your son. Now, if you're just like, being subconscious, PC, woke, it's like, oh, well, that's a feminist talking point. So, yeah, and you might say it to, try to impress people or, because you're with the times and stuff. But if you actually think it through, you'd realise that it's actually the promotion of child abuse against all male children, all boys. It's saying, so let's break it down. What's it actually saying? It's saying, oh, no, we shouldn't say protect your daughters. Because where does this come from? People say, oh, well, most common victims of like rape and attacks and things, late at night, when people are out by themselves, the most common victim is female. So we need to protect our daughters because they're most commonly attacked. So female are most vulnerable, so we need to protect them the most. That's what people say because people have hearts and brains and they want to protect innocent women who are vulnerable to being attacked because they're more likely to be a victim. And then this is spun in the anti-white feminist narrative to be, oh no, we shouldn't protect the daughters. No. Fuck that. How about we don't protect daughters? How about you educate your son? And then people clap and go, oh, yay. Feminist talking point, without actually thinking through what was just said there. In response to saying, women are more vulnerable, so we should protect women. We should have a focus on protecting women because they're more vulnerable and more likely to be victims. So let's protect women and be vigilant about that. Stop the attacks on women and help protect women. And then the feminist anti-white talking point is, let's not protect daughters. Let's not protect your daughters and the women. Let's not do that. Instead, let's be snarky and teach young boys that they are inherently rapists and that they are monsters at their core simply because of their gender. Instill them with child abuse, this mental trauma, okay, and teach all boys that there's something wrong with them simply because they're boys. So instead of protecting the daughters, instead of protecting women because they're more vulnerable, let's just abuse innocent boys as well. That's what this is saying. When you see people, this argument, this meme pathogen that's saying, oh, protect the daughters. No, let's not. Let's educate boys. Let's educate the men. Let's educate your sons. We've got to educate the males to stop attacking. Okay? Whenever you hear anything like that, that's what this is. That's what they're saying. Let's not protect the women. Let's not protect the girls. Let's just, instead of protecting the women and girls, actively abuse the boys. Actively, psychologically molest the young boys instead of just protecting the girls from rapists. That's the feminist anti-white talking point. And that's what this individual shared publicly on his Facebook page. And that's why I'm saying I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here and say this is a case of villainy signalling, where he's subconsciously repeating something because it's trendy, it's PC, it's a feminist talking point, and he hasn't actually thought through what he's saying publicly with his name and face to this. to the advocating and the promotion, the support of, instead of protecting young girls from abuse, let's just actively abuse young boys. And he doesn't understand, because he's been conditioned in the anti-white narrative with these subconscious talking points. He doesn't even understand that he's proudly saying this publicly and putting his face to it. So many people do it. So many people support feminism. They support feminism and the feminist talking points without realizing that all they're doing is being anti-male and promoting the abuse of boys, literal child abuse. And if they actually understood what they were saying, what feminism actually was, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be promoting it. If they actually understood that it was never about women's rights or anything like that, it's always been an anti-white meme pathogen, part of the anti-white narrative, to destroy Western kind and promote white erasure, and to justify things like the abuse of innocent white children. And that's exactly why they use the talking points and get people to subconsciously promote such talking points as this very one in this very case, right here as we see. It speaks for itself. So I hope people can start thinking consciously, trying to reflect a bit, be a bit more aware of what you're actually saying and what you're promoting in the world. Because everything you say and everything you accept that other people say affects and changes the world. It has real effects. So you can't just go around saying whatever you want. Sometimes you've got to reflect, and you've got to consciously catch yourself when you do subconsciously slip up and say something like that, a feminist talking point, etc., some anti-white meme pathogen. Catch yourself, and actually think it through and be like, oh, I actually almost just promoted child abuse. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I don't want to be a part of that. Yeah? Because it's pretty important. We have to catch ourselves, because the world's falling apart. And lots of children, lots of innocent people are suffering because people are just saying random things subconsciously without actually thinking about what they're saying. Millions of innocent children are suffering every day because people don't want to take a moment every couple of moments throughout their day to just reflect on what they might have said or a conversation that they've had. It's not very hard, but it helps protect innocent children and their well-being and gives them a better life. All you got to do is just think like 4 times a day, bro. That's it. Just think 4 times a day as an adult. Shouldn't be hard. About what you're saying before you say it. Okay? And if you can't do that, what's that old saying that we used to be taught as children? I ain't got nothing nice to say. Don't say nothing at all. If you can't take a moment to reflect and be conscious about what you're speaking into the world, then just don't talk. Just shut up. Okay? If you don't know how to speak to make the world a better place, zip it, be quiet, because your talking is unconsciously just rambling and making the world a worse place. Yeah? So you got to stop. And folk like myself have to keep going on and on and on and on and on and on non-stop, because it's a duty and children must be protected. Someone's got to do it. Take it easy, folks.